Hi everybody, this is Miss Faina. Today we're going to be working over the final exam review and I'm going to show you how to do everything by hand. So let's look at the first question. It says the table shows the linear relationship between the balance of the student's savings account and the number of weeks he has been saving. Okay, based on the table, what is the rate of change of the balance of the student's savings account in dollars and cents per week? Well, our weeks are going to be our X values, our balance is going to be our Y values. It's asking for what is the rate of change. Remember that means slope. Okay, so for our slope, we have a formula. It is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So I need to be able to identify 2 points from the graph. Okay, so I have a point of 0, 32 and 1, 39. So I'm going to go ahead and label them x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. And I'm going to type it into my handy dandy calculator. In my formula, I'm sorry. So y sub 2 is 39. Y sub 1 is 32. I have x sub 2, which is 1, and x sub 1, which is 0. 39 minus 32 is 7. 1 minus 0 is 1, and 7 over 1 just simplifies to 7. Okay, that's it. Letter B. The table below can be used to determine the cost in dollars for a premium radio station of X premium stations. What is the rate of change of the cost in dollars with respect to the number of premium channels? Again, what is the rate of change? So I have my formula again. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, I need 2 points, so I have this one, and let's go with this one. Okay, so I have 1 and 65.5 and 4 and 109.75. So I plug in, I have $109.75 minus $65.50 over 4 minus 1. So now we just have to do a little bit of subtracting. So 109.75 minus 65.5, that gives me 44.25. Okay, 4 minus 1 is 3. So I'm going to divide 44.25 by 3, and I get 14.75, which would be answer choice B. Okay, so we're just identifying a slope from a table. Okay, looking at 2A, which of the following linear functions have the same slope? Okay, well, we need to be able to know what form it's in and what the slope is. So this first one is in slope-intercept form. So my slope is the number in front of x, which is -5. Okay, the second one is in point slope form. So it's the number in front of the parentheses. So my slope is -5 as well. The third one is another slope-intercept form. Remember, f of x just means y. This is equal to a 1x minus 5, so my slope for this would be 1. And last but not least, it's in point slope, so it's the number in front of the parentheses, which is -2. Okay, so we're looking for the functions that have the same slope, which would be 1 and 2. So answer choice A. Looking at 2B, I noticed that my first one is in standard form, and I need to solve for y to get it in slope-intercept form. So I have 3x is equal to, oh, sorry, not 3x is equal to, plus y is equal to 20. So I need to move that 3x over. So I add 3x to both sides. And when I do that, I get y by itself. So now it is in slope-intercept form. And my slope would be 3. Okay. Number 2, it's in slope-intercept form already, and it's a 1/3. Number 3 is in point-slope form. That means it's 1/3 as well. And the last one is another standard form one, so I need to solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So those cancel out. I get a negative 9y is equal to a negative 27 minus 3x. I'm going to divide everything by negative 9. Everything by negative 9. I get y equals negative 27 divided by negative 9 is a positive 3. Negative 3x divided by negative 9 is a positive 1/3 x. It is now in slope-intercept form, and I know my slope is 1/3. So which ones have the same slope, which is 3 of them, 2, 3, and 4, which is answer choice C. Okay. Looking at this next one. What is the equation in slope-intercept form of a line that passes through the point 2, -2, and is perpendicular to the line represented by y equals 2/5 x plus 2? Okay, so we want an equation in slope-intercept form. We're given a point that it has to go through, and we know that it needs to be perpendicular to this slope. Well, first off, the slope of this given line is 2/5. So something that is perpendicular to it has to be opposite and flipped. So it's going to be negative and 5/2. And I'm given a point to -2. So because I'm given a point and a slope, I need to plug it into point-slope formula and then solve for y to put it into slope-intercept form. Okay, so I have x sub 1, y sub 1 in my m. So I have y minus -2 is equal to a negative 5/2 times x minus 2. So y minus 2 turns into y plus 2. I'm going to distribute this over here. So I get a negative 5/2 x, and I get a negative 5/2 times -2. Two negatives make a positive, and it turns into just 5. Then I subtract 2 from both sides, and I get y is equal to a negative 5/2 x plus 3, which is answer choice C. Okay, looking at 3b, same question. What is the equation of a line in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the point 8, 2, and it has to be perpendicular to the line represented by y equals a negative 4x plus 10. So the slope of this given line is a negative 4. A perpendicular slope would be a positive 1/4, and it has to go through the point 8, 2. So again, point-slope formula, we're going to plug it in and solve for y. So y minus y sub 1, which is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. Okay, so I have my x sub 1, I have my y sub 1. I'm going to plug them in. So y minus 2 is equal to 1/4 x minus 8. So I have y minus 2. I'm going to distribute the 1/4. So 1/4 times x is a 1/4 x. 1/4 times a negative 8 is a negative 2. I add 2 to both sides. I get y equals 1/4 x. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So just a 1/4 x, which is answer choice D. Okay. Looking at number 4, we're just combining like terms. So it says which expression is equivalent to, and it gives us all of this. So yeah, we need to simplify it, condense it. So I'm going to do negative 3x and 8x. That gives me a 5x. I have 7y and a negative 4y. That gives me a positive 3y. I have a negative 2z and a positive 3z, which gives me a positive 1z. And then I have 4 minus 2, which is positive 2. So if I look, answer choice A doesn't work. B, we have 5x, 3y, positive z, positive 2. That looks like the answer. C had a negative 5x, so that wouldn't work. And D had a negative 11y, which would not work. Okay. For B, again, which expression is equivalent? So we just need to simplify it. I have 4x and 2x, which gives me a 6x. I have a 8z and a negative 3z, which gives me a positive 5z. I have 3y minus 3y, which is 0, so we don't need to write that. And then I have 5 plus 5, which is a positive 10. Looking at our answer choices, we have 6x minus 5z. That doesn't work. B, we have 6x plus 6y. There is no y's. C has another y in there, so those don't work. 6x plus 5z plus 10. Perfect. Answer choice D. Okay. Looking at the next one, what is the slope of the line represented? It's in slope-intercept form, so it's just the number in front of x. So we get negative 2. I think some of us might have overthought this question. 5b, what is the slope of the line represented by y equals 3x plus 5? Again, it's in slope-intercept form, so my slope is just 3. Okay, looking at 6a, which of the following is an accurate statement? So the x-intercept of the graph is 200, which represents how much fuel is used per hour when the truck is being driven. Well, my x-intercept looks like it's at 20, not 200, so that does not work. So F is out. G, the y-intercept of the graph is 20, which represents how much fuel the truck had before it was driven. Well, my y-intercept is at 200, so that is not correct. H, the slope of the graph is negative 10, which represents the amount of fuel used with respect to the number of hours driven. And J says the slope of the graph is 10, which represents when the truck will run out of gas. So what we need to know is, do we have a positive or negative slope? It's either negative 10 or positive 10. Well, if we're looking at it, we can find some points, okay? So some pretty points. When I go down, it's going by 20s, and when I go left and right, it's going by 2s. So if I go down, this is a negative 20. And when I go over in the positive direction, that's 2. So negative 20 over 2 gives me a negative 10. So my slope needs to be a negative 10, which is answer choice H. Okay, looking at the next one. Which of the following is a true statement? The x-intercept of the graph is 140, which represents how many adult tickets were sold. Again, my x-intercept right here is 70, so that is not correct. B, the y-intercept of the graph is 70, which represents the amount of children tickets that were sold. My y-intercept is at 140, so that doesn't work. They're trying to confuse you with flip-flopping those, so that doesn't work. Okay, C, the slope of the graph is negative 2, which represents how many children's tickets were sold per adult tickets. And D, the slope of the graph is positive 2, which represents how many children's tickets per adult tickets were sold. So again, it's a difference between a positive and a negative slope, or a negative and a positive. So let's find it. It gives us 2 points. So each line is going down by 10. So that's 10, 20. Okay, and then it looks like, so that's a negative 20. It looks like my x-axis is going by 10s. So if I go over 10, so I have a negative 20 over 10, which gives me a negative 2. So it should be answer choice C. Okay, looking at the next one. 7a, what is the solution to this equation? So we're going to solve it by hand. So we're going to draw a line through the equal sign. Okay, we're going to distribute negative times a 4x, which is a negative 4x. Negative times a negative 3 gives me a positive 3. I have a negative 7 times a negative, or sorry, times just a positive 9, which gives me a negative 63. And then a negative 7 times x, which is a negative 7x. If you notice, I have x's on both sides of the equation. I want them on just one side, so I'm going to move over the 7x, okay, to get my x's on the left side, because I feel like that's what y'all like the most. Okay, so when I do that, it gives me a 3x plus 3 is equal to a negative 63. So I need to move everything and get x by itself, so I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. When I do that, I get 3x is equal to a negative 66. And then I need to divide by 3, and x equals a negative 22. So when we're typing this in, we're just typing in the number negative 22. No x equals. Okay, not too bad. Answer choice, or sorry, number 7b, what is the solution to this one? So again, it has 2 equal signs. It should just be 1. So sorry about that. Again, we're going to distribute. Negative times 5x is a negative 5x. A negative times a negative 4, 2 negatives make a positive. Negative 8 times 10 is a negative 80. Negative 8 times x is a negative 8x. Again, I have x values on both sides of the equal sign. I want them on just one, so I'm going to add over the 8x to both sides. When I do that, I get 3x plus 4 equals a negative 80. And then I want to get x by itself, so I got to subtract 4 from both sides, which gives me a 3x equals a negative 84. I divide both sides by 3, and x equals, let's see, I'm going to use my calculator, negative 84 divided by 3, negative 28, which I should have known that. I'm just being a little slow today. Okay, it's early in the morning for me. So negative 28. There we go. Okay. Yep, that's it for solving equations. Not too bad. And if you ever doubt yourself, you could plug these numbers back in for x to make sure that both sides equal each other. Number 8a. The graph represents the inequality 4x minus 9y is less than or equal to a negative 36. So, looking at it, right now it just tells us what type of line we should have. So we should have a solid line, which eliminates answer choice G and J. Okay, now that's it for that. We have to actually solve to see if we're going to shade above or below. So draw a line through the inequality sign. We subtract 4x from both sides. Okay, we're left with a negative 9. Y is less than or equal to a negative 36 minus 4x. We divide by a negative 9 on both sides. And when you divide by a negative with an inequality, it flips it and opens up the other way. And then we simplify, we get a positive 4 plus 4 over 9x. Now that we see that it's opening towards the y, okay, we're going to shade above, which is answer choice H. Okay, so if you notice in the beginning, you would have thought that it shaded below, so you would have chose answer choice F. That's why it's important to make sure you get y by itself, because you might have to divide by a negative and flip the inequality sign. Okay. 8b, based on the inequality sign, okay, we should have a dotted line, which eliminates A, B, and D, so your only option is C. Okay, but you would need to solve for y to make sure that you're going to end up shading above. Okay, looking at the next one, what is the y-intercept? Well, where does it cross the y-axis? It's crossing down here at -9. Okay, 9b, what is the 0? 0 is another word for x-intercept. Okay, so where is it crossing the x-axis? Right here at -2. Okay, moving on to the next one. Which of the following is equivalent? So we're going to draw a line through the equal sign. I have y minus 4 is equal to, I need to distribute 3/5 times x is a 3/5 x. And 3/5 times a -10 is a -6. Then I need to add 4 to both sides, which leaves me, those cancel out with y equals 3/5 x minus 2, which is answer choice J. Okay, 10b, draw a line through the equal sign. Okay, the y minus 4 stays the same. We're going to distribute that -5, so -5 times x is a -5x, and -5 times a -1 gives me a +5. I add 4 to both sides. I get y equals a -5x plus 9, which is answer choice C. And that one was J. Okay, that's it on that. Not too bad. The next one, 11a. We need to be able to identify the slope, so let's do that. Looks like I have a point here and a point here. My rise is 1, my run is 2. So rise over run would be 1/2. Okay, which eliminates answer choices C and D. Now I need to understand the points that come from the equations that I'm given. So for A, because it's in point slope form, it is 6, -1. And for B, it is -6, +1. So I need to look to see which point is on the graph. So +6, -1 is down here. That doesn't end up being on my graph. But if I look at B, -6, +1, that's this point right here that I already plotted. So my answer is B. Okay. For this one, I believe I ended up changing it because you would have gotten 2 answers. So I'm going to change that to just a negative sign. So looking at it, let's identify the slope. So from here to, let's say here, I think that's a point. So it looks like I go up 1, 2. So my rise is 2, my run is 1, 2, 3. So rise over run is 2/3, which means I can eliminate answer choice A and answer choice D. With the changes, my points are -3, +2, and 3, 2. So -3, +2 is up here, which is not on my graph. And then 3, 2 is on the graph, which leaves me with answer choice C. Okay, and this one was B, sorry. Keep forgetting to write those. Okay, the last question on this, oops, I forgot to erase my work, so let me erase it real quick. There we go. Okay, so the equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the points -4, 2 and 12, 6. I want it to go in slope-intercept form, so I need to find the slope. So I have m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. I'm going to plug it in. So I have 6 minus 2 over 12 minus a -4. 6 minus 2 is 4. 12 minus a -4, which is 12 plus 4, is 16. That simplifies to 1/4. But we need it, as we see, we could eliminate C and D, but it's a decimal form. So just know that 1/4 is the same thing as 0.25. Okay. Now we need to be able to put it into slope-intercept form, but I don't have the y-intercept. So I'm going to have to start with point slope form. So y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. And I'm going to plug in, it doesn't matter which point you use, and I'll actually show you that so you can see. So the first time I'm going to use, of course, the slope 0.25. Okay, that's my slope. And the first one, I'll do the -4, 2. Okay, so I have y minus 2 is equal to 0.25 times x minus a -4. Okay, so we're going to end up simplifying and solving for y. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take care of that double negative, so it turns into x plus 4. And then I'm going to distribute. Okay, so the left side stays the same. Okay, the right side, I end up distributing. I get 0.25x. And then 0.25 times 4 is just a positive 1. I add 2 to both sides, add 2 to both sides. I get y equals 0.25 x plus 3. So if I look, that's answer choice A. But I do want to show you that you'll get the same answer if you use 12, 6 instead of the -4, 2. So down here, I'm going to show you. So again, my slope was 0.25. My point was 12, 6. And I'm going to plug it into the point slope formula. And I'm just trying to show you that it doesn't matter which point you use. So I have y minus 6 is equal to 0.25 times x minus 12. So again, I'm going to solve for y. So the left side stays the same. The right side I distribute. 0.25 times x is a 0.25x. 0.25 times a -12, that gives me a -3. Okay, I'm going to add 6 to both sides. Those zero out. I get y equals 0.25x. -3 plus 6 is a positive 3, which is what I got above. So it does not matter which point you use, and I just wanted to show you that. Okay, the last question of this video, what is the equation of the slope, in slope-intercept form, of the line that passes through the points 4, 3, and 8, 2? So I need to be able to identify the slope first. So y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. I'm going to plug them in. I have 2 minus 3, and I have 8 minus 4. So 2 minus 3 is a -1. 8 minus 4 is 4. That leaves me with a -0.25, which means I can eliminate answer choice B, C, oh, no, not C, sorry, D, and then A. I forgot, I skipped over A. So our answer should be C, but let's double check to make sure, because we could have made a mistake with the slope. So I'm going to use a point in the slope, and I'm going to plug it into the point slope formula. So I'm going to use the point 4, 3. So I have y minus 3, which is equal to a -0.25 times x minus 4. The left side is going to stay the same. The right side, I'm going to distribute. A -0.25 times x is a -0.25x. A -0.25 times a -4. Two negatives make a positive. That should give me a 1. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. The 3's on the left side, 0 out. I get a -0.25x. 1 plus 3 is 4. So yes, C was the correct answer. Okay, so that was the last question of the first 12 questions. So if you have any questions, please make sure you reach out to your teacher so we can help you. Other than that, have a great day, Rangers.